Hello everybody, welcome, and thanks for joining me again here on my channel. My name is Marcy, and I'm glad that everybody is here with me today. Well, I have a confession to make. I have not had a chance to do any more work on the journals between Wednesday's video and today's video, Fridays. And I'm sorry about that, it's just too many things going on. What I had hoped we would do today would be able to go through and start placing up the ephemera and things that you've sent me into the journals. I'd hoped to have them all sewn together, but I just didn't have enough time in the last 2 days to get all that done. What I still need to do, however, before I can do the sewing together, I need to finish putting a journal topper on this one. This is the one I could not figure out. And then I want to do some stamping on the pages, and I have some washi tapes and things that I may want to run up and down some of the sides of the pages. And then I still have a few pages that I need to add in to each journal. These are the ones that came with the donations, and then I have these too. And once these are all added, these 2 sheets are added into each of the journals. Then I will have 27 sheets in here, and that makes 108 pages with the front and the back in each journal, and I think that's a good amount. So that's what we're going to work on today. We're just going to start the timer and then go until it runs out, and then I will continue on. But if I don't get going, then you won't have a video showing tomorrow, okay? So go ahead and get yourself situated, whether you're crafting along or just watching, and then I'll meet you right back here in just a minute. I have really struggled for some reason trying to figure out what to put on the front of this journal. For some reason, I don't know if it's just because of the red or just what, but I have just really had a hard time figuring out exactly what I wanted to do, and I haven't really liked anything I'd come up with so far. Then I got this as one of the donations. This was from Izzy, this beautiful lace, and I think I'm going to be laying that down as a background. But it kind of occurred to me that the one thing I hadn't done was used a photograph, and I pulled out my cabinet cards that I have and kind of went through those, and they were okay. But in and among the old photographs, I have this picture, and this is actually an extra picture that we have. It's a copy of the picture, and we got this from Tom's cousin, and we actually have the original, but this is Tom's Aunt Mabel. And Auntie Mabel, I believe this is her high school graduation photo. So this is somewhere in the mid-30s is when this was taken. And I think that she goes very nicely on the front of this journal. If you were to know Aunt Mabel and my mother-in-law, they were sisters. They were 2 of 5 siblings, and they were raised together by an aunt. Their mom passed away when Mabel was 6 and my mother-in-law was 3, and the other kids that were older got to stay with Dad, but he sent the younger 2 off to live with an aunt. So they were always very close, always did things together, and just very, very, very close friends and sisters. And I can't think of a nicer thing to add to the front of a journal than this lovely photo of Aunt Mabel. They were both just really lovely ladies, inside and out, just very pretty ladies. And so I think Mabel is the perfect thing for the front of this, and it kind of just completes that look. So we're gonna work on that first. I did pull out, I was trying to do it all with fabrics, and I have this little scrap of green, and that's what lines the inside. I don't know if I'm gonna necessarily use that, but I found this paper. I've got red and black cardstock. And then I have, this is a strip that I've cut off a doily that I thought might be nice to run up the side because it was the right shade. So we're just gonna get to cracking. But the first thing I wanna do is lay down a panel with this lace, and I want this part. I want to make sure I've got the right side up. It goes this way. Isn't that just the prettiest lace? I just think it's really neat. I have not seen a design like that before. So I'm going to, I want this complete scallop along the bottom. So I'm going to start by cutting straight up so that I can get this whole design running along the bottom of the panel. Let's see, in this finished picture, I'm going to cut this out off of this photo paper, but I think, yeah, that should be fine. That should be wide enough. I had forgotten that I had this picture in with my old photographs that I've got for using in journals. And I've always said I'm not going to sell the relatives. We have lots of old photos, but I didn't want to like sell them in my shop or anything. I want to honor our family. After all, we do know these people. But I think since this is a spare photo, we actually have the original one of Aunt Mabel. And I think that would be really nice to put on the front of this journal, and it would be just fine. There we go. So there's that. I want to just lay it here, and then I'm going to cut her just with straight edges. I should add too that I did get my husband's permission to use Aunt Mabel on the front of this journal. He said that would be fine. And around those corners. Okay, and then I had this scrap, and I'm wanting to just kind of lay it on here. This reminds me of the old-fashioned photographs, you know, where the pictures had the decal edge around it. So I like using the decal edge with the black backgrounds underneath the pictures because I just think it looks really cool, very vintage. There's that. And need to get a little trim across the bottom. There we go. So I'm gonna glue these two together right now so that I don't lose a piece, you know. The house is quiet today. The husband has a business trip. Can you see what I'm doing? There we go. Husband has a business trip, so he's out of town for a couple days, and then he comes home for a couple days, and then he's out of town next week as well. He's going to, I think, Minnesota next week. He's up in Sun Valley for the weekend. There's a conference with the physicians, and so he's up there representing his company. Now there's quite a bit of space under there, so I think this can tuck underneath and just lay the red over it. I think that would look nice. And then we have this. I think I want the picture over the lace though. And then I just wanted a little scrap. I'm just not sure. Maybe that's all it needs. It's just the picture, the lace, and then we'll just, I was thinking I would just run it down one edge, but then that leaves this edge kind of exposed, doesn't it? So let me try with this scrap. I want the torn edge on that, and I may or may not get it. See, I have two that are cut with the pinking shears and two that are torn. And I do kind of like, here we go. What if I do that? And maybe, I'm not sure if I still have, how much more of this do I have and where is it? This is a really good question. So I have a little bit more of this. which I don't want a big piece, I don't think. Looks. I'm just going to cut this with straight scissors so I can have a straight edge there. And I'm going to kind of square it up a little bit. It's not quite square. There we go. It's a little less visually distracting. Okay, let's see, what do we got? So while Tom is out of town, he's not coming home till Saturday evening, and I am going to be involved in a chili cook-off at church. Not that I have like the world's best chili or anything, but I do have a pretty good recipe for white chicken chili I got from my daughter's mother-in-law. So I thought I would make that. But it's going to be a nice quiet couple of days, and all I have to do, I don't have to go anywhere. Got my hair done today, but I don't have to go anywhere really on Friday or Saturday. And I can just work on journals, which is going to be great. I'm wondering, I think it might need a button or something. Probably would benefit from some sewing too. Had white thread in my machine, but now I don't have it in there. Now I have, I think, dark brown, but maybe a white, maybe, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm visualizing some stitching down this one side, but I don't think it needs it all the way around. If I just put a little piece here, to do the same thing. Where'd I just put that lace? Maybe I could run this across the top. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Wow, that's quite the involved, quite the arrangement I have going on there. Okay, now all I have to do is lift it off and glue it together. Very carefully. I guess I didn't need the red cardstock after all. Okay, so this is exploding, of course. I'm just going to tack down that piece in the corner here. Okay. And then I want that to go up. Okay. Oops, which way is up? There we go. Yeah, so what all are you guys doing for the weekend? Let me know down below. We're still having really nice days. We're gonna have a few more, I think. It's just really nice out there, so I'm trying to sit on the patio every chance I get. These are not my fabric scissors, but since there's glue on there, I like to not get my fabric scissors yucky. There we go. Sometimes they cut and sometimes they won't cut the fabric, so it's always hit and miss. And then this, hold on, I gotta check up versus down, right side, wrong side. Okay, so this is working from the back side. This is gonna, it's sticking to me. This is just gonna run down like so. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna put little dabs of glue where the stitching is the thickest, so that it has something to hang on to. Yeah, so thank you for this lace, Izzy. This was the perfect thing. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, I think that's exactly what that journal cover needs. And you really helped me, so thank you. I was struggling with this one, but as you know, sometimes I know exactly what I want to do on the cover, and sometimes I don't. So let's see. I'm getting little fuzzies on everything though. It needs like a lint roller on it. Okay, I'm gonna pull that back. It's nice and tall. And we'll just run some glue across here. I feel like I'm just being too quiet, but it's probably because the house is quiet. So I'm noticing the silence. Okay. Right up there. And then I just want to run a bead all the way down here. I don't know how much I actually got there. And then run another bead right along here. I'm trying not to get too much because when it dries really shiny if you have too much glue. Okay, there's that. And then over here, oops. Yeah, so I'm just trying to put that on there very lightly. And I think I want this to go straight. Okay, and just a little dab right through there. Right down along here. I'll just put a tiny bit. And then now I'm going to close it so I can see how it looks centered, or where it will be centered. I don't think I have a button in the right anything style, color schemes or whatever, so that might be nice, but I'm not sure. Not sure if that's going to happen. Should not lay that down. If there's glue under there, I don't want it on the picture. And then I'm just going to glue basically inside the borders of this piece of cardstock and just leave these not glued so they can be kind of free, you know, not stuck down. Oops, I'm getting everything stuck to my glue bottle. Stop. If everything's tacked down flat, sometimes it loses, you know, the feeling of texture and layering. So what I want is this towel. Sorry for the pounding. Okay, and then I had this big red doily and I kept trying to make it work. I just wanted to use parts of it or snip it, but it's so thick it just never quite, it just didn't look right when I would lay it down. Okay. I think I just need to put it on here. And I don't want it to come all the way down. I want to be able to see that green, because otherwise, why did I put it there? But I want it to cover up that raw edge there. And I don't think I want it to stick up that tall either. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Yeah, I feel like it needs something right here. So now I'll have to stew on that for a bit and figure out what I can put up here in this corner. Okay, so what I have come up with for the closures on my journals are these children's headbands or infant headbands. It just kind of depends. And that's what is going to close the journals. And so what I'm trying to do is make sure that the little decoration on each headband works with the design that I have on here. So depends on where I place that. And right now, of course, the pages aren't in here, so it looks a little flat, and it is. But, you know, something like that. So yeah, definitely needs something here. I have some little tiny appliques, so it may wind up with that. I don't know. Oh, I know what I could do. Hold on. And maybe you guys have arrived at this conclusion ahead of me, and if so, thank you. Thank you for sending it to me via Vulcan Mind Meld. Let's do one of these flowers. I'm trying to find one that I can cut out that has the whole thing without just cutting all the way through this. Okay, so let's put this. I'm trying to save these flowers. I don't think I can save those connectors right at the moment. But let me get this out and then we'll cut around it nicer. A little nicer. And I don't even know if I'm in frame right now because I'm just trying to get it cut apart. Sorry. Let me take that off for a second again. Okay, so we're gonna cut around this. Okay. Got a little bit right here, needs to still come off. I went out and got my hair done today. Then I had to take my husband to the airport so he could pick up the rental car. And I was, the other day I filmed 2 videos because, oh, it has a piece cut off here. Let me try to get the whole flower. I had to film 2 videos because I needed to film the one before I could film the one that you actually saw on Wednesday. But then I like to go ahead and edit them fairly quickly after I film them so I can remember what I'm trying to do. And yeah, so I've spent most of the last couple of days editing. Not much else. But it's going to be nice to have a bunch of days to just get in here and work on these and get them all finished. It's time. And then I'll call the center and see what they recommend. Let's see. That looks like Christmas, doesn't it? I did want it to look like Christmas, but I did kind of want, let's see. So I need to hold it up for a second so I can see. I kind of just wanted, maybe I should just overlap them. There we go. How about that? Because this flower is kind of empty, but if I overlap it with this, that fills it in. I think that's what it needs. So that's what we're gonna do. Also, I see a little piece I need to snip right there. Okay, yay. That gives it some continuity between the back of the lace and the topper. Well, if you have watched my channel for very long, I have talked about Aunt Mabel before. And at one point, way back at the beginning of my channel, I had a pressed dried flower picture that Aunt Mabel had made, and I was trying to turn it into like handmade paper. So it had kind of that look of the faux handmade paper, because she'd done a really nice job. But unfortunately, when I started putting the Mod Podge down, you're supposed to lay down the dried flowers and things and then basically Mod Podge napkins and things over the top, the white layers of the napkins. You're supposed to Mod Podge that over the top, and it's supposed to give it kind of this look of homemade faux handmade paper. Well, when I started using the Mod Podge, she had done this beautiful calligraphy on the paper, and it smeared the ink, and I was devastated. And then I realized I could have just used a spray adhesive and then laid it down. So I mean, as soon as I saw it was smearing, I quit using the Mod Podge. So it kind of messed up that picture I was trying to save, unfortunately. But I'll link that up above so you guys can go back and watch it. I mean, I think it was a valuable video. It's too bad it didn't quite turn out how I was hoping to, and I still would like to go back and try that again. When I get ready to do some garden journals, I'm going to want to do some more paper like that. Okay. What do you guys think? I'll lay it there so you can see it. Okay. Well, I like that a lot better than the blank cover I had a few minutes ago. This is sticking right there. I don't think I want it to do that. Okay, so let me take you on a quick tour of how the pages look, and then we'll go through and add these extra sheets. That'll give you an overview of kind of how they're looking right now, and then we'll do some stamping too. Boy, I got little fuzzies everywhere. Give me a second to get that squared away. Okay, so they all follow the same order pretty much. So there's this book page you saw before. This was from a gardening catalog. The ones we decorated online, a sheet of stationery. I went back, I think I added these since I last flipped through, but I added accounting column paper to every one. This is one that was sent by Izzy, one of the coffee dyed sheets, and then an embroidery book page, and then another coffee dyed sheet that I had. I think this may or may not change around. I'm not sure. Depending, I'm not sure if it's always coffee dyed in this spot. I can't remember, but I know this is going to be Izzy's between the column paper and the embroidery book page. So if I have to move that one, I might, but in fact, I'm thinking I may move it one more because it's really white right there. And I'd like it to be interesting. Okay, so that's how it's going to be. Now I have to remember to move that page in everyone. So Izzy's page, needlework page, adult coloring book page, another coffee dyed or something. I don't think they're all white. I don't know. Anyway, so from Mr. Victor Crafter, I told you he had sent me a note about some of the pages we were using, and then if you go to his community tab on his channel, he has lots of places where you can print, and I picked out some. So here's two I printed back to back, which I thought looked nice. There's those, then you'll see another one here in a minute. This is from a daily notepad kind of planner kind of thing, and I folded it in half, and Pam had put these in her journals, and I thought that was nice to add the continuity between mine and hers. Plus with the pretty colors, it just ties in. Piece of computer paper stationery, scrapbook paper, envelope, which was going to be fun to decorate, another book page with nature, and this one, this is how it looks on the back, but I picked it because of this too. And then another piece of scrapbook paper, botanical book page, the calendar page, another piece of coffee dyed, music, and this one's colored. This is another page by Mr. Victor. I put this on the back. So what happened was I was printing or trying to print on vellum. This is the one from Laura Fuller that she sent, and it was just smearing, and about half of the pages did not look good. So finally, I just gave up trying to print. Trying to print on the vellum. Just gave up, and the reason I didn't want them on paper was because it was just going to be so blah on the one side. Well, then when I got the downloadable PDF files from Mr. Victor Crafter, he had this, and I thought, well, I could put that on the back of this. Now, the ones certain journals where the vellum looked okay, I kept the vellum. So you're gonna see some variations from journal to journal. And then in this one, for example, this is a piece of, it was plain, and it was a piece of typing paper, fine typing paper, and I ran it through. That's another Mr. Victor design. And on this particular one, I printed one that went with the reds. So that's another one of his designs. So that's also gonna change up from journal to journal. There's one of these beautiful cards with that. This is the red one with the seed paper. And brown notebook page. And then this is also typing paper, fine typing paper or resume paper from the days when we had to type our own resumes. You all can remember that, right? And then another botanical book page, and then these will, each one will have one of these to get sewn in the center, okay? So that's how they all look. As I was going through my stash, I have this in my fabric covered pocket, so I'm just keeping that with this until till I decorate the pages up. So, and I also have, I'm going through my fabric flips and stuff, and I have a fabric flip that matches this fabric as well because I have a lot of this fabric, so that will probably wind up in here. So that's Aunt Mabel's journal. So now all we have to do, Aunt Mabel's journal, that's the journal with Aunt Mabel's photo. So all we have to do is remember the placement. This is gonna go in a belly band, so it's just sitting there. Just have to remember the placement of where we put each thing. So Izzy sent me 9 of these, and there are 10 journals. So the other one I'm using is this piece of computer paper that Celeste had her things wrapped up in that, and so perfect. So all I need to do is figure out, see this one's blue on the outside, but I'll probably just match this to one where the cover colors match. Okay, so coffee dyed there. And then we're gonna move. Oh, that's what, these were out of that one journal I took apart. That's what it was. So we're gonna move that one. So this varies, it's not all the same. Over to here, and then where are we putting, see, I already forgot. Where are we putting the other one? The folded, the planner sheet. Yeah, it is between those two. Okay. You just kind of get, when you have this many, you just kind of have to find a system and then get in a rhythm and do it over and over again. So this may suck up too much of my time doing this. I'm going to take a minute and finish doing these, and then we're going to go back through and stamp some pages, okay? I've got that all finished and all those pages in. So I picked out just 3 to, we'll go through and start stamping and doing some things. I'm going to show you as well the differences between, one of these has the vellum page and one of them doesn't. One of the things that I look for when I am putting in the heavier ephemera, the pockets and things, is I try to reserve that for pages that are heavy, like this, you know? But the pages that are thinner and are kind of plain, I reserve for writing and for having writing space. And then very often I will decorate them up with some stamping. So I've got my VersaFine pad here. I brought over a gray one too. I don't know if I'm going to use the gray, but I basically am keeping everything in the black color scheme. Now I have these, I found these at the Dollar Tree not too long ago, probably a couple months ago. This one as well, so it has the butterflies, it has the birds. And then I also really want to use this one, and I saw Celeste using this. She had been doing tags and using this set, so I went and found it, and I believe it was at Hobby Lobby. So it's by Hampton Art, and it's this kind of a botanical looking set. It's really pretty. And it's called nothing. Anyway, there's like the order or the number, you know, their order number, but it doesn't really have a name, unfortunately. So that's it. If you're looking for that, go to Hobby Lobby. I don't know, you could probably order it online too, I would imagine. And then I also have some doily stamps. And then a couple of my other favorite ones are these, because they just add a nice little accent to the corners. And I think I've either ordered both of these off of eBay. I know I ordered that one for sure, or I could have found this one at the thrift store. I honestly don't remember. But I just like them because they add kind of a generic, you know, something pretty to the page without it having to be a word or something. I'm going to pull these out of the package. So that's just what I look for. I save the heavier pages. Like this has a design on it. This they can color, but then it's heavier, thicker paper. Can you even see what I'm showing you? There you go. It's heavier, thicker paper. So it would be good to glue something down to on the back side. If this book page kind of has some pretty stuff, but I would probably cover this side here with a pocket or something. I might leave those because they are pretty, and once this gets colored in, it would look really nice with the color versus the black and white. So that's just how I do it. Now, all I have to do is make sure I don't lose track of where that's supposed to go. I'm going to put my ruler there so I don't lose track. Okay, so very excited to use this set. I've been waiting and waiting. So I like this one. And you can stamp on the inside or the outside or all of the sides. This has some really pretty coffee dye color on it. So I may just let that stand alone and just do my stamping on the outside. Now this is not picking up the ink. There it goes. I'll try to stay in frame. I'm running out of space over here. There we go. Just want to make sure that you can see what I am doing. And I think on the opposite side, I'm going to do a bird. I'm gonna move that because it's just creating problems for me. Like this, the soaring swallow. So we'll use that one. There we go. I'm feeling like I'm all thumbs all of a sudden. And I got glue stuck to my fingers. Get off of there. Oh yeah, I still have glue. I thought I got all that off my fingers, but guess not. Okay, inking up off screen. And I don't want to lose the little tie that keeps that shut. And I don't want ink smudges on the edge of my block because they transfer to the paper. Okay. I'm gonna give it a good press, wait for a sec. And there we go. There we have it. Okay, so there's those two. Let me put that back in. And then on this particular journal, I had these pages that I was using that came out of that journal I took apart. But this is pretty flimsy. And I don't want it to break or rip along the edges. So this, I thought I'd run washi tape, and because of the color on the cover here, I'm going to use a blue washi tape. Trying to use up some of these that I ordered online at one point. Also, we want our extra insurance here. Whoop. Suppose I could just run a line of glue along the edge with my art glitter glue. That works too. But that just adds a little something interesting to this page so that when it's bumped up against the page next to it, you just have something to look at. And I do like to reinforce these fragile edges. And I'm also going to have to probably go over this center spot right there, because I think when I sew it again, it may be too, it may also tear. So it needs something there. And that is not on there straight. I feel like everything is in my way. Don't know why I feel like that. Well, it may not be on there straight, but we're going to have to live with it. So I don't want to run it along the other side too, so I think I'll just trim it. There we go. So you can't really tell. I mean, it's not too terrible. Not too terribly off. And I want to do the other side. I need a gluing page. I'm going to try it this way. Yeah, that works. That's better. There we go. Oh, should have done it on the other side, huh? Oh well. And then if I had something here, I would go ahead and reinforce the spine right now, but I don't want to take the time to dig it out. So I would probably just use another piece of copy dyed paper or something and just glue it along here so that it has the reinforcement along the spine. I'm all about reinforcing everything because I don't want anything to fall apart later. So now when I put it in here, it looks like that. It just adds a little something extra to that page when you're looking at it. And then, let's see, let's keep going. So I think on these, because they're a little short, I may glue an envelope to the back side so it extends the page and just gives you something interesting to look at. That's my thought there. But this one is white. And so let's use this one that's pretty. Everything is in my way. And what I like about this one is that it doesn't really matter if you go across the page this way or if you choose to run it down the page this way or up the page from the bottom. It just kind of can go any direction. So I find that very useful. See, like that. And it just adds a little extra. Okay, and then when you're flipping through, ta-da! These envelopes will also be getting something done to them. I don't know what quite yet, but especially the white. Well, there's white and there's gold depending on the page. This is another spot where it'll be good to just glue something because these are heavy pages and there's nothing happening here. And then as we continue going through, this was already on this page, but I could stamp something along the top. What do I want? I want this pretty flower. With the rose. I hope I got that straight. We'll find out in a sec. Good enough. There we go. And then this is a little pocket. There's that one. Okay, let's see. So in this particular one, the Mr. Victor Crafter, I used the blue here instead of the other design I was using, and I printed it on white. some of them are on colored paper and some are on white paper, and just kind of depended on what each journal needed. That's what I did. So here's one where the vellum printing turned out okay. So this is a good place for me to stamp on this resume paper. So there's my other set that I really like. I really like these hydrangeas. And I'm linking all of the products for the links for the things that I'm using as much as I can find. Obviously things like this that came in a stamp set, I won't be able to link, but I am linking them down below. So I guess I could link the glue stick, but literally you can go to Walmart and find that. The glue stick is, I've switched over to this washable school glue, the disappearing purple, because it seems to be sticking as well as the other one that I usually use, which is the extra strength craft bond glue stick, also by Elmer's. Let's see, let's put a little pansy over here. Okay, sometimes it soaks through the paper, you know, the ink does, so I just want to make sure it's not doing that. And then I just put these back into the container, this ink side up, while I'm busy using them. And then when I'm done using them, I clean them all off and put them back down the right direction. So it kind of helps me know which stamps I've used. So here's this one, that pretty Narcissus. Love it. Love this stamp set. You really want to watch that you don't accidentally lay your paper onto the stamp pad, as I have done. Because then you just get ink all over where you don't want it, and then you cry. There we go. Put that back in there. Here's another one. So actually this one would benefit not from stamping, but from some lace up the page. So I got that pretty blue, I've got some white lace on the cover, and I think since it's blue and pink, let's see what shade of pink I have here. I don't know if the mauve is better or the true pink. I'm feeling like when you look at it against the cover, inside cover, the true pink would be better. Because that mauve looks kind of almost too grungy, too dirty. So let's go with pink. So we're gonna run some lace, because I do like to have lace in the journals as well, coming, you know, peeking out the pages. So there's that. Close that for a sec. Believe it or not, this resume paper is from our college days. My husband had this, and we still have part of a box of it, so it's been following us around from house to house. We don't even have a typewriter anymore, so now it's getting used in journals. Sometimes you can still find that at the thrift stores too. Oh, no ink, no glue is coming out of my bottle. Okay, hold on, I gotta wipe it off. So because this one is towards the center of the signature, I'm only gonna glue one of the sides, because otherwise I have two lace edges too close together in the book, and then I can decide where to put another piece of lace further along. And I'd probably, since this is going to wind up in the front half of the signature, I'd probably put another piece of lace towards the back half of the signature, because I like to balance everything out. And it would be blue. Let's see, I have a blue that matches that one I have. So let's find a spot to do that. Boy, we're just rapidly running out of time. Rapidly, rapidly. So sad. But that's kind of how I do it. That's my process as I go through. And so I have to do this, guys, to 10 journals. I know, I did it to myself. Made that commitment. It's okay. That's why I'm glad I just have, sorry, I need to fix this. It's not quite straight. That's why I'm glad I have some time here where I don't have to worry about dinner, laundry, other people's schedules, that kind of thing. So let's see, if I have this right there, I would like something somewhere along, maybe here-ish. What do I have that would really like to be glued up? Oh, and there's a little fabric ruffle there. So I could glue it to right here. Did I not stamp? I didn't stamp there. I should stamp on this side and then glue on the other side. And what else do I have? Sorry, I didn't mean to bump ya. I have this pretty butterfly. This one I found at the thrift store. It's like this weird mix. That is not part of the set. I just stuck it in there so I had somewhere to put it. But these are the stamps that come in this set. And it's like, to me, this doesn't make sense. But I went ahead and picked it up because it was $3 and it has a butterfly and a pretty stem for a rose. So that's what I did. And it was called God's Beauty from Stampin' Up. And it looks like, I don't know, well, obviously 2000 and something. Probably early 2000s, because I'm pretty sure it's in my old catalogs. But it's been really fun to just, as I'm out thrifting, find a lot of these sets that I know were on my wish list way back, but I just couldn't afford them. So let's see, I want my butterfly to kind of go at an angle. Ooh, pretty, nice. This was part of a special set because it's got the purple rubber. So there's that, and then we'll glue the blue lace. Oh, it's coming ungathered right there. So that's one thing too. If you don't like the gathers, especially when you're sewing, sometimes it's hard to sew the gathered lace to a page. Just take off this edge or just cut it right underneath where it's bound, and then it will lay flatter. Okay, let's get the glue out. I don't know why I got out 3 journals. There's no way in heck we were going to get all that done. As usual, I'm just ambitious. Have more ambition than time most days. Okay, I'm going to catch that so it's glued. It's all ruffle on the page. So you don't have to worry about this coming undone when you trim it, because the glue is holding all that stitching in place, so it's not gonna fray or unravel on you. The stitching will stay in place, and then this will always be gathered. And then you just have a little snippet to make on a snippet roll. And this is exploding, of course. Put that away. Everybody's in the way. Okay. So now, let's see what we've got. Okay, so this one had the tie closure. When I bind these, I have kind of a basic off-white, like similar to this color, thread, and I'll probably just bind them all in the same thing, not try to pick different colors. Okay, so when it's all bound up, and we've got our pretty little lace edges there, and then as you flip through, you have a little bit more interest on the pages now. Of course, I'd already stamped this one earlier. When we made those pages, I stamped that. But see, now it just adds a little extra something to the blank pages. You don't have to do a lot. But I also like the stamping because it doesn't add bulk. Now I could stamp up here if I want. I could stamp right in here if I wanted to do something. And then I was going to add the envelope here, like I said. And I'll be decorating up these. I don't think I'm going to do that on camera, but if you guys decide that you want to see that sometime, you can tell me and we'll do it for something else. We'll do it another time, but not for this. So now every page is interesting in some way, except for that one, but it's it's got its size. The size is interesting for that. Okay, so that's basically how it's going to look. Again, this is a heavy page, so I'll probably put a piece of ephemera there, and then that one has the pretty pattern. This one, oops, I was supposed to stamp. Let's stamp this pretty rose. I'll tell you the name of this stamp set too, so you can look for it on eBay or if you happen to see it in a thrift store. Here we go. So this one, Flower Garden, and it's from Stamping Up, 2004. So it's truly one of my favorite ones to use. I'm going to turn these over just so you can see how it all fits together. And then this one is not part of that set, but these are. I don't think it's missing one. That's all of them. Yeah. So this is a nice stamp set too, and it's really one of my favorite ones that I use a lot. So, yeah. There we go. Leave no page ignored. That is a little bit wet. It is not sunk into the paper, so I'm going to lay down another piece of paper or something in between, just so if it decides to bleed temporarily, it's got something to help catch the extra ink. There we go. Because the last thing you want is to be stamping and then have it transfer to another page where you didn't want that stamping. This one I'm not doing anything with, although you could. I could stamp along the edge here. But I just think the color and the lines make it interesting. And also you don't want to decorate it up so much that whoever's getting a journal, and this is my general thought process for all journals, you don't want to decorate it up so much that they don't have any room to actually write or glue things in for themselves. So that kind of gives you the idea. I don't know what I will do on this side. I may or may not add something here. It's not a heavy paper, but I'll just see. I might end up coming back and adding a stamp, or I can glue a little embellishment or just put a sticker or something. But now you kind of get the flavor of how those few little touches just change up the journal. How it looks now when you add those few little things, and it's starting to get a life of its own. It's not just blank pages anymore, you know, it's not just papers. It's starting to have a personality, and I think that's when it really, really gets fun. I mean, all of the stages are fun, but once you get to this part, it really gets its own personality. And of course, most of the time, you're only doing one journal at a time, so it's a lot less involved than what I'm doing right now. But that is my process for how I add to the pages and start embellishing the pages so they're not so plain. Today's quote is going to be from Khalil Gibran. The quote is, "Beauty is not in the face, beauty is a light in the heart." And that's what we're trying to do, is add some beauty and joy to the lives of people that have had a lot that they're suffering and going through, continuing to suffer and go through, because obviously we're not hearing about the war in the Ukraine as much, but it's still raging, still going long and hard. So just prayers for victory for the Ukrainian people, and you know, that God will work in this situation, because that's the best prayers you can pray. All right, guys, that wraps it up for another week. And as you see, I have my work cut out for me over the weekend. And then I really do want to be able to add the ephemera then in next Wednesday's video. So until next week, be inspired and do something creative today. And I'll talk to you next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.